Hello guys, this is Louis Pat here, and in today's video we are gonna go over gadgets, melee, AOE loadout, might, DPS of course. The reason I'm uploading this video is because as you have recently seen, gadgets got nerfed. Of course, some people could argue that this was to bring gadgets down in line, which then again, I guess you know what they say about opinions, right? Everyone's got one. Um, So anywho, this video is dedicated to all of my DPSs out there because if you're on my DPS, most of the times you will find yourself running this loadout, the one that we have right here, which is the loadout that most of us use, right? When it comes to might, AOE, melee, DPS. But you will find that with its recent nerf, you will run out of power very quickly. Pretty much for those of you that are not aware, maybe you were DPSing with Might Gadgets DPS, you will find yourself running out of power, and it's because of before when you would use suppressor turret to clip your animations, you would only get deducted. You will only get a deduction from the power you used prior to suppressor turret. For instance, if you were to use Cyclone Push clipped with suppressor turret, you will only get the power reduction from Cyclone Push, which is 15,320. But now with this patch, you will also get this amount of power deducted from your power bar, 22,980. And since suppressor turret is the backbone, it used to be the backbone for this rotation. But for most of the rotations, actually, um, you will find yourself in the situation where you're running out of power. And there's some things you could do to mitigate that. For instance, you could have this couple of mods. You could have in your head mod. You could have energized TMP pulse. You could have in your chest the one that is called power efficiency, which is a mod that makes every power get a 5% power discount, something like that. So those are the things you could do to mitigate this power regen situation. Another thing you could do is maybe have Cyborg as a passive ally, but in my opinion, you will be missing out on a shit ton of DPS because currently Cyborg is the one with the highest potential for DPSing at. So you don't want to have that one as a passive ally if you're gonna DPSing with melee AOE. So what you were gonna do is maybe change it up a bit. Um, we would need to find rotations that do not rely on suppressor turret as much. So let's dive into the parsers so that you can see the rotation I'm talking about. Because my point of view is that this rotation is no longer viable. If you were to run regular rates, regular alerts, even a duel, sometimes you will run out of power. And even if you pop your cola, even if you pop your supply, in the long run, it's just not sustainable. So let's get into the rotations. You will see that you will see a change in the parsers, but it's not a significant change because significant change. Um, but then again, you will see it in a moment. So before we dive into the parsers, let me give you a quick look to my character. So these are the artifacts I'm currently running. Strategist card 200, transformation card 200, Remorium 124. Of course, you could use amulet. The reason I don't use it as much. Hold on, let me lower this thing down. There it is. The reason I'm no longer using amulet is because it's situational, right? Because most of the times you're putting a lot of stress into the healers, and especially for elite content. For instance, just to give you an example, for TSDE, I really wouldn't like to die because of amulet, because yes, even though you have two healers right there, you could have sometimes Martian Manhunters dot. So if you're running TSDE, it might be kind of difficult for you to have amulets. So my opinion is that you don't actually need it. Yes, you would be putting out even greater numbers, but you can just stick to Grim, both cards, and that's it. So these are the mods that I'm currently using for this particular rotation. But as you can see, for a head mod, it's ideal maybe to have a different mod. The reason I'm having Energize EMP Pulse is to get a little bit of power back, but you don't actually need that mod, because this rotation that I'm going to show you, it's more sustainable. You don't run out of power that quickly. Um, but then again, I bought a spare of chests and head pieces so that I can maybe give it a try with different mods. So, but the mods you want to be using in your head at least is Critical Battle Display. But right now for melee, I have the luxury of getting an extra head mod, an extra head piece to try on a different mod. So this is the one that I have imprinted into my AOE melee rotation armory. But this is the mods you want to be using: Blast Adapter 5, Energized EMP Pulse for AOE only, for melee, Escalating Might, Accelerated Suppressor Turret. I guess this one you will no longer need that, so I guess you would have to see which other mod would serve the better purpose. But on the chest piece, you would have Penetrating Strikes. On the legs, it really doesn't matter. I have Taser Pull. Feet, Dashing Combos, you would see that in a sec. Um, Improved Stealth. Of course, that is always going to be a must for gadgets, at least for the time being. This is my might base stat, 124,871. So this is how you would want to be speccing your skill points. Superpower, and then critical attack chance, critical attack damage, remaining skill points going into might and power, and then what is left of your skill points you can put them into health. Since it's AOE rotation, melee rotation, you will want to have as much health as possible so you don't die. And with this rotation, I don't really tap my weapon that much. That's why I don't spec into precision. But then again, this is your choice. Bottom line, as long as you have critical attack chance, critical attack damage, and might and power, you're good to go. So now into the rotation. So this is the rotation that most of us use. But then again, like I mentioned, it's no longer sustainable. At least in my point of view, it's no longer sustainable. Um, because if you are using suppressor turret over and over and over and over, you are running out of power. Um, but let's just give you a quick look. Indicates that some of you don't know what this loadout rotation looks like, and the parsers, so you can see the comparison as well. So let's take a look at this, what the rotation looks like. So let's take a look at the parsers we got. We got 4 parsers for 144k, 120k, 158k, 108k. That was actually a pretty low one. But let's take a look at the crit percentages. The first one, 32%. Second one, 32. Third one, 36. And the last one, 30%. So now, let's dive into the rotation that I'm proposing. Because if you would have to average DPS on this, I guess you could say it could be an average of 135, around 135. But you have to keep in mind that this is no longer sustainable, right? And you can't do any DPS. You will be losing a lot of damage if you run out of power, because if you're speccing to might, you're simply not gonna have anything to put out some good numbers. So with this other rotation, you get similar parsers, and it's a sustainable rotation. So the loadout you want to be using now, due to recent nerf, you want to have Warling Dervish. So you're gonna have to be a speedster for this. So let's put in Warling Dervish. We are removing suppressor turret. Yes, as much as hurtful as it can be, we are removing it. And this is gonna be our loadout. Within stealth, the loadout will remain the same. We only need to make the change in the damage loadout. So removing suppressor turret, replacing it with Warling Dervish. Due to how I play, I just switched the order between Warling Dervish and Cyclone Push. You're gonna see that in a sec, the reason. So we're gonna do the rotation slowly, and then you will see how it will look like normally. Because what you want to do is Warling Dervish, dashing combos into Cyclone Push. Then Cyclone Push, you're gonna clip that with Stealth, and then gonna go Cuff them, and then EMP. And then your normal rotation would be Warling Dervish, Vortex, Implosion Mine, and Paralyzing Dart until you have Stealth ready. You don't want to be using Cyclone Push unless you have Stealth ready, so that you may use it to clip it. So then again, I'm gonna do it slowly, and then I'm gonna do it normally. This is how it will look like slowly. So now let's see how this looks like normally. So let's take a look at the parsers. I got about 139, 153, 138, 154, 159. As you can see, the average DPS remains untouched. About 135, about 140. And the most important part, this is a sustainable loadout. You won't be running out of power, I promise. As long as you only use Cyclone Push whenever you have Stealth ready to clip. Ready for you to use it and clip Cyclone Push. So this is the loadout. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Let me know if you enjoyed this loadout, if you would make a change to it. So yeah, that's it for today. Thank you.